The awakening moment. There comes a moment in life when you stop and realize that everything you thought was solid might not be so fixed after all. Imagine waking up one day and feeling that the world around you is not simply happening to you. You start to sense that there is an unseen connection between your mind and the events that unfold. You cannot explain it logically, yet it feels undeniable. What if your thoughts were not just private mental images, but actual forces shaping your experience of reality? What if reality itself is more like a canvas than a finished picture, and you are the painter? The observer effect is the key to understanding this. It tells us that the act of observation changes what is observed. In the smallest scales of existence in the quantum world, particles behave differently when they are being watched. This is not philosophy. It is a fact discovered in laboratories and confirmed over and over. But here is the mystery. If at the smallest level reality responds to observation, what does that mean for your daily life? Could your focus be influencing what you call your reality right now? Could your attention be the invisible hand that moves the pieces of your world? You might be wondering how this is possible. The truth is that everything exists as possibilities until something collapses them into a single outcome. And it is your observation that performs this collapse. Every thought, every emotion, every moment of focus is like the lens of a camera choosing what to capture. Most people do not realize they are doing this. They believe they are victims of events, when in fact they are unconsciously choosing the frame of their own lives. The moment you awaken to this truth is the moment you stop living on autopilot. You start to see that life is not simply a chain of random events, but a mirror reflecting your inner state. The observer effect is not just science. It is an invitation to step into your role as the conscious director of your reality. And once you step into that role, nothing will ever look the same again. The hidden truth behind reality. Reality is not a rigid structure made of immovable pieces. It is fluid, flexible, and full of infinite possibilities that exist all at once. Before anything happens in your life, there are countless potential outcomes waiting in the unseen field of possibilities. These possibilities are like unopened doors. They all exist, but only one will open and become the reality you experience. The observer effect tells us that the simple act of focusing on something is what determines which door opens. Observation collapses the possibilities into a single experience. Imagine life as a giant movie studio filled with endless sets and storylines. Every possible version of your future is already there. Your attention is the director who decides which scene will be filmed today. The problem is that most people are not consciously directing their scenes. They are allowing past fears, worries, and limiting beliefs to choose for them. And because they do not know they are doing this, they repeat the same story over and over. This is why some people feel stuck in patterns they cannot escape. They believe the world is simply showing them what is real. But the truth is, they are constantly shaping what is real by where they place their focus. Your focus is the creative force behind every experience you have. When you focus on lack, you collapse realities of more lack. When you focus on abundance, you collapse realities of more abundance. This is not just positive thinking. It is the mechanics of how consciousness interacts with the physical world. Every time you choose where to place your attention, you are choosing the quality of the reality you will live. The more aware you are of this process, the more you can guide it toward what you truly desire. Once you realize that reality is shaped by what you observe, you can no longer blame fate or luck. You see that you are the one holding the lens through which the world comes into focus. And with that awareness comes an incredible responsibility. Because if you can choose what to focus on, you can choose what kind of reality you create, and that changes everything. Science meets spirit. For centuries, science and spirituality were seen as separate worlds. Science dealt with facts, measurements, and visible evidence. Spirituality spoke of the unseen, the inner life, and the mysteries beyond the physical. But the observer effect shows that these two worlds are not separate at all. They are simply different languages describing the same truth. In the early 20th century, scientists began running an experiment now famous as the double-slit experiment. They fired tiny particles through two narrow openings, expecting them to act like solid objects. Instead, they acted like waves, creating patterns of interference. But when scientists observed the particles, their behavior changed. The act of observation itself altered the outcome. This discovery shook the foundation of physics. It meant that the observer and the observed are linked in a way that defies our old understanding of cause and effect. Ancient spiritual traditions have always taught something similar. They have said that your thoughts and intentions shape the world around you. They have said that where your attention goes, energy flows. What science is now showing is that consciousness is not a bystander in the universe. It is a participant. Your mind is not trapped inside your head. It is interacting with reality at the deepest level. The observer effect is the bridge between scientific proof and spiritual wisdom. It confirms that your focus does not just change your perspective. It changes reality itself. And when you understand this, you begin to see why meditation, prayer, and visualization have been practiced for thousands of years. These are not empty rituals. They are methods for directing your consciousness toward the realities you wish to bring into being. The moment you realize this connection between science and spirit, you step into a much larger understanding of who you are. You are not just a body moving through space. You are a conscious being shaping the universe with every thought and every choice of attention. The gap between science and spirituality begins to dissolve. And in that space, you see the truth. Both have been pointing to the same profound reality all along. The silent creator within you. Your attention is the most powerful tool you have. Yet most people are unaware of its true influence. Think of your attention as a magnifying glass. Whatever you place under it becomes larger and more defined in your reality. If you magnify fear, it grows and shapes the choices you make. If you magnify possibility, opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. The silent truth is that you are always creating, whether you know it or not. Most of the time, this creation happens unconsciously. People focus on what they do not want, on what they fear might happen, or on the problems they believe cannot be solved. And because attention feeds reality, these same problems grow stronger. The mind has a habit of repeating familiar patterns. It prefers to focus on what is known, even if the known is painful or limiting. Without awareness, you may be replaying the same mental movie every day and wondering why your life is not changing. The observer effect reveals that the change must begin with what you observe. If you continue to look at life through the same lens, you will continue to get the same experience. The good news is that you can choose a new lens at any moment. By consciously directing your attention toward what you want to create, you begin to collapse realities that match your vision. This is not a quick trick. It is a disciplined way of living. You must learn to watch your own mind and notice where your attention goes. When it drifts toward fear or doubt, gently guide it back to possibility and trust. You will notice that the more you do this, the more life seems to rearrange itself in your favor. This is not magic in the sense of something unnatural. It is the natural outcome of how consciousness interacts with reality. You are the silent creator of your world. Every moment you are choosing what will grow and what will fade. The question is, will you choose consciously or allow your mind to choose for you without your awareness? When you finally decide to take hold of your attention, you take hold of your destiny, breaking the unseen chains. Much of what you observe and focus on each day is not chosen freely. It comes from deep patterns formed long ago. These patterns are like invisible chains that guide your attention without you realizing it. They come from childhood experiences, cultural beliefs, and emotional wounds you have carried for years. Perhaps you grew up hearing that life is hard and opportunities are rare. Perhaps you experienced loss or rejection and decided, without knowing it, that the world is unsafe. These beliefs become the background lens through which you observe reality. And because the observer effect responds to what you observe, these beliefs become self-fulfilling. You focus on difficulty, and difficulty appears. You expect rejection, and you notice every sign of it. This is why breaking free from these unseen chains is essential. You cannot create a new reality while observing from the perspective of an old wound. To break the chains, you must first see them. This requires a deep honesty with yourself. Begin by noticing the thoughts and emotions that repeat in your life. Notice the situations that keep showing up. Ask yourself if they might be reflections of what you are unconsciously observing. The moment you become aware of a pattern, you have already weakened its hold. Awareness is the first step to freedom. The second step is to replace the old focus with a new one. This is not about pretending that pain or difficulty do not exist. It is about choosing not to feed them with your constant attention. Focus instead on the reality you wish to see. If you want love, focus on the qualities of connection and kindness. If you want abundance, focus on gratitude for what you already have and on the feeling of expansion. Over time, your attention becomes free from the grip of the past. And when that happens, you will feel something incredible. You will realize that the chains were never locked. They were made of focus and belief, and you are the one who holds the key, the bridge of coherence. The key to consciously shaping your reality is coherence between thought and emotion. Imagine your thoughts as the blueprint and your emotions as the energy that builds the structure. If the blueprint and the energy do not match, nothing stable can be built. Many people think of abundance but feel fear of lack. They think of love but feel unworthy. They think of success but feel certain of failure. This creates a conflict that sends mixed signals into the field of possibilities. The result is a scattered reality that never seems to align. Quantum coherence is the state in which your thoughts and emotions vibrate in harmony toward the same vision. When your mind is thinking of a desired outcome and your heart feels as if it is already true, you send a powerful and clear signal to reality. This is when the universe seems to respond with clarity and speed. Achieving coherence is not about forcing yourself to feel something. It is about cultivating genuine emotional alignment. Practices like meditation allow you to quiet the noise of conflicting thoughts. Gratitude raises your emotional state and connects it to a sense of already having what you desire. Visualization allows your mind to see and your heart to feel the new reality as if it is present now. The more often you enter this state, the stronger your signal becomes. This is why the great spiritual teachers and even modern performance coaches speak of living as if your desire is already fulfilled. You are aligning your inner state with the reality you want to create. When coherence is present, manifestation feels natural and effortless. Opportunities flow, people align with your vision, and obstacles seem to dissolve. Without coherence, even the strongest desire can remain just an idea. But with coherence, desire becomes reality. The observer effect responds to the quality of your observation, and coherence makes that observation a unified force. It is the bridge between intention and manifestation, between thought and form, between the inner and the outer world. The universe responds without judgment. One of the most liberating truths about the observer effect is that the universe does not judge you. It is not deciding what you deserve or punishing you for past mistakes. It is simply reflecting the quality of your observation. This means that life is not personal in the way we often think. If you continually focus on lack, the universe is not withholding abundance to teach you a lesson. It is responding naturally to the vibration and focus you are offering. If you continually focus on possibilities, the universe is not rewarding you as if you passed a test. It is reflecting back the state you are in. This is not about blame. It is about empowerment. Because if reality is a reflection, then you have the ability to change it by changing your focus. Think of it like a mirror. If you want to see a smile, you smile first. If you want to see joy in your life, you bring joy into your observation. The universe simply matches you. This is why living in a state of constant complaint or worry creates more to complain and worry about. It is why living in gratitude and openness tends to create more to be grateful for. The mirror is always honest. This understanding frees you from the idea that you are a victim of circumstances. Even in the face of challenge, you can choose the quality of your focus, and that choice will begin to shift your experience. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing which version of reality you will give your attention to. If two people face the same problem, one may focus on the hopelessness of the situation, while the other focuses on possible solutions. The situation is the same, but the outcomes they experience will be very different. The observer effect is working in both cases, faithfully reflecting what each one is focused on. Once you understand this, you stop trying to change the mirror and start changing the expression you bring to it. Becoming the conscious observer. The practice of becoming the conscious observer is one of the most transformative skills you can develop. It means stepping back from your thoughts and feelings and simply watching them without judgment. Instead of being pulled into every emotion and every mental story, you create a space between you and your mind. In this space, you gain the ability to choose. Most people live without this space. They believe they are their thoughts. If a thought of fear appears, they fear fear. If a thought of anger appears, they react with anger. They have no separation from the mental noise. Becoming the conscious observer breaks this pattern. You start by noticing your thoughts as if you are watching clouds pass across the sky. You see them, but you do not have to follow them. You notice your emotions, but you do not have to let them dictate your behavior. This is where true power begins. Because when you can observe without being controlled, you can decide where to place your focus deliberately. You begin to see which thoughts are worth keeping and which are simply old echoes from the past. You stop feeding the ones that no longer serve you. Over time, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the awareness behind the mind. This awareness is free, expansive, and unshakable. It can choose any reality to focus on. When you live from this awareness, you become a deliberate creator rather than a reactive participant. You begin to notice synchronicities, moments where reality seems to respond to your inner state. You feel a calm confidence because you know you are no longer at the mercy of every passing thought. Becoming the conscious observer is not about controlling life. It is about aligning with it from a place of clarity and choice. It is the foundation of conscious creation, releasing the old self. To step fully into your role as a conscious creator, you must release the version of yourself that is tied to old patterns and limitations. This is the self that has been shaped by past experiences, old beliefs, and the focus of yesterday. As long as you observe life through the eyes of this old self, you will keep creating the same type of reality. Releasing the old self begins with a decision. You decide that you are no longer defined by the stories you have carried. You choose to see yourself not as the sum of your past, but as the creator of your future. This is not an easy step because the old self feels familiar. It is the identity you have worn for years, and the mind resists letting it go. But the truth is that your old self is just a pattern of observation. You have been observing the world from that identity, and reality has faithfully matched it. To release it, you must stop feeding it with your attention. Begin to act, think, and feel as the person you want to become, even before you see evidence of it in your outer world. Your focus will start to shift from the limitations of the old self to the possibilities of the new self. This is not pretending. It is choosing a new point of observation. The observer effect will respond to this new focus by bringing you experiences that align with it. Over time, the old self fades, not because you fought against it, but because you stopped observing from its perspective. You realize that you are free to be anyone you choose and that your reality will reflect this choice. The new reality you create. When you understand and apply the observer effect, you step into the most empowering truth of your life. You are not a passive spectator in the theater of reality. You are the director, the writer, and the lead actor. Every moment is a new scene you can shape. Every thought and feeling is a cue to the universe about what comes next. The new reality you create begins within you. As you choose where to place your focus, reality begins to shift. Old patterns dissolve. Opportunities appear. Relationships transform. Abundance flows in ways you could not have predicted. This is not because the universe suddenly decided to bless you. It is because you began to consciously direct your observation toward the life you want. And reality, faithful to its nature, responded. The journey does not end here. Becoming a conscious creator is a lifelong practice. There will be moments when you slip into old habits, when fear and doubt try to reclaim your focus. But now you know the truth. You have the power to choose again, and each choice is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. The question is no longer whether you can create the reality you desire. The question is what reality you will choose to create today. You are the observer, the creator, the one who shapes the possibilities into the life you live. This is your power. This is your responsibility. And this is your freedom. If this message resonated with you, subscribe now to stay connected with the energy that awakens you. Like this video to anchor this frequency in your field. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a transmission that your spirit needs. And comment below, I am the frequency. Let the universe hear your voice. You're not here by chance. You're here to rise and remember who you truly are.